Hi everyone. In this practice, we're going to go over systems of equations word problems. And for most of these word problems, we're going to set up two equations, or you can say two functions. And I describe them this way. One function or one equation will represent the amount, and the other equation or function will represent the cost. That is not true in all cases. In some cases, we will be writing two equations, two cost equations. But in most of these, it will be two systems, one that will represent the amount and the other one representing the cost. All right, let's look at the first problem. Jane bought an order of pens and notebooks for $52. The number of pens and notebooks she bought combined is $12. She paid $3 for each pen and $5 for each notebook. How many did she buy of each? So the question is, how many pens and how many notebooks did she buy? Well, let's go back and underline all of the information that we have. She bought pens. She bought pens and she bought notebooks. And how many in all did she buy of those items? They tell us combined she bought 12 of these items. So actually that gives us our amount equation or amount function. So we have to use variables because we don't know how many pens she bought. We don't know how many notebooks she bought. So we'll use P for the number of pens she bought and N for the number of notebooks she bought. So then we can say the number of pens plus the number of notebooks she bought combined is 12 from here. Okay, well, how much did each item cost? They did give that information right here. She paid $3 per pen. She paid $5 for each notebook. So then we can come over here and write the cost equation. Each pen, she paid $3. So $3 per pen, $5 each notebook. And what was the total charge for this purchase? It was $52. So she paid $52. So there's our two equations. Let me rewrite 52. Looks more like a 62. Okay, so now we have our system, we have our equations. One of these equations has to be solved for P or N. Of course, you want to solve the one that's easier to solve for P and N. So if you look at the top one, we just have P plus N equals 12, which is a lot simpler to solve for P or N than 3P plus 5N equals 52. So let's come over here, and I'm just going to copy. Actually, no, let me go farther to the right. Let's do that right here. P plus N equals 12. And let's solve it. You can solve it for P, or you can solve it for N. Let's solve it for N. Subtract P from both sides. So you're going to have N equals, and you're just going to take the sum of these two, which will be, I'm sorry, the difference actually, 12 minus P in this case. Okay, we've solved it for N. Now we have a replacement value for N. So now we can take this value for N and replace it in the second equation for N. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just copy 3P down plus 5 times N. We have a replacement for N, and that's 12 minus P. So in parentheses, we're going to put 12 minus P equals 52. Okay, we're going to go ahead and simplify 3P. I'm going to distribute here and distribute here. We'll get 3P plus 5 times, let me change the color, 5 times 12 is 60. And 5 times, you can say negative 1p, is going to be minus 5p, or negative 5p, equals 52. Okay, we have 3p minus 5p. We can combine those to get negative 2p plus 60 equals 52. Okay, we can subtract 60 from both sides. It's getting tight here. And I'm going to write the results here. We're going to have negative 2p equals 52 minus 60 is going to be negative 8. We'll divide both sides by negative 2, and p equals 4. So we found that she bought 4 pens. We just need to find out how many notebooks she bought. Well, we can come over here. This is the original equation from here. We can go over here. We know she bought 4 pens, 4, plus some number is 12. Well, that number represents the notebooks. So 4 plus what number is 12? 4 plus 8, right? Or you can come over here and do it this way. You have n by itself. It's already solved for. So you just say 12 minus the number of pens, 4 pens, 12 minus 4 is 8. So that means she bought 8 notebooks. And that's it. And you always want to check your answer. Let's just double check. 4 plus 8 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 5 times 8 is 40. 40 plus 12 is 52. All right, let's go on to the next one. Jamal bought white cheese and yellow cheese. Altogether, he bought 10 pounds of cheese for a party. He paid $5 a pound for the white cheese and $3 a pound for the yellow cheese. He paid $44 for the total cost. How many pounds of each cheese type did he buy? So remember, we are going to set up 2 equations, okay? In this case, I can see we're going to have the amount equation, or the amount function, and we're going to have the cost equation, or you could say the cost function. So let's start with the amount function. How much cheese did he buy? Well, he bought white cheese and yellow cheese. All together, he bought 10. Let's underline that. White cheese, yellow cheese, all together 10 pounds. So that's our amount function. So we're going to use W for white cheese. So we finish solving, we know what that W represents. Plus Y for yellow cheese. And all that, the total together is 10 pounds. All right, we're going to write our cost function. Well, he paid $5 per pound of white cheese, so we can come over here. He paid $5 for each pound of white cheese. How much did he pay for the yellow cheese? Well, he paid, let me underline the $5 per pound of white cheese. He paid $3 for yellow cheese. So then we can say for each pound of yellow cheese, he paid $3. 3Y. Well, what was the total cost for all this cheese? It's given right here, $44. So we have the amount, how much he bought altogether, and here is the cost that he paid for the cheese altogether. Okay, we need to solve one of these equations for W or Y. Obviously, the top one's going to be easier to solve for W or Y, so I'm going to come over here, copy it, W plus Y equals 10. And I'm going to solve this. Let's solve it for Y. Subtract W from both sides. It doesn't matter. Solve it for either variable. So Y equals 10 minus W. So now we have a replacement for Y to use in the other function. So we're going to replace Y here with 10 minus W, and we'll have an equation that has only one unknown W. All right, let's get it started. So 5w, copy that down, plus 3 times, okay, the replacement for y is 10 minus w equals 44. All right, let's simplify by distributing. We will distribute here, and we will distribute here. We're going to copy down 5w, and then distribute. 3 times 10 is 30, and 3 times minus w is minus 3w, equals 44. Okay, let's combine our w's together. You see we have 5w and minus 3w. We'll combine those together to get 2w. Copy the rest of the equation. Okay, let's subtract 30 from both sides. And we'll have, I'll copy it here, we'll have 2w left on the left side and 14 left on the right side. And now we'll divide both sides by 2, so w equals 7. That means he bought 7 pounds of white cheese. Okay, we just have to find now how many pounds of yellow cheese did he buy. So we're going to come back over here and replace w with 7. So if w is 7, 7 plus what number is 10? Obviously it's 3, right? So that means he bought 3 pounds of yellow cheese. Okay, we could have done it right here too. We know what w was because we got it here. So 10 minus 7 is going to give us that y is 3. So you can go back to the original, or you can use the rewritten equation for the original. Either way it will work, okay? Again, you should always check. Let's just double check. 7 plus 3 is 10. 5 times 7 is 35. Plus 3 times 3 is 9. And 35 plus 9 is 44. Let's keep going. Kristen spent $131 on shirts. Fancy shirts cost $28 and plain shirts cost $15. She bought a total of 7. How many of each kind did she buy? So again, in this equation, I can see that they gave us the amount function and the cost function. Let's start with the amount function. She bought fancy shirts and she bought plain shirts. She bought a total of 7 together. Okay, so we can say F for fancy shirts here plus P for plain shirts from here, and she bought a total of both types 7. Okay, let's now write the cost function. She paid $28 for the fancy shirt, so that'll be $28 each fancy shirt, plus she paid $15 for each plain shirt, $15 for each plain shirt, for a total cost of, here's the total cost, $131. Okay, we need to solve the top equation for F for P. F plus P equals 7. Let's solve it for F. Minus F minus F. So we'll have P equals 7 minus F. So that's our replacement value for P. All right, let's go ahead and in the second function, copy down 28F. And then we're going to multiply 15 times this quantity, 7 minus F, because that's our replacement value for P. 7 minus F equals 131. Okay, let's simplify. It's going to be 28F plus, we're going to have to distribute here. This will be 105 minus 15f equals 131. We can combine 28f minus 15f, combine these like terms, and we're going to get 13f plus 105 equals 131. Okay, let me just write the results here. So we have 13f equals 26. We'll divide 13 from both sides. It means f equals 2. That means she bought 2 fancy shirts. 2 fancy shirts. Okay, let's check and see how many plain shirts she bought. We can go to this original equation, which is here, or we can just do it right here. 7 minus 2 for fancy shirt. That means she bought, that means P is 5. So that means she bought 5 plain. So that's our answer. And let's just check. 2 plus 5 is 7. 28 times 2 is 56, plus 15 times 5 is 75, and 75 and 56 is 131. You and your friend go to Tacos Galore for lunch. You order 3 tacos and 3 burritos, and your total bill is $11.25. Your friend's bill is $10 for 4 tacos and 2 burritos. How much do the tacos cost? How much do the burritos cost? Okay. Let's underline everything we have. So you, for example, went and you bought 3 tacos and 3 burritos, and you paid $11.25. Your friend, he bought 4 tacos and 2 burritos for $10. So basically what we have here is 2 cost functions. Okay, you bought 3 tacos. We'll put T for tacos. Plus, you bought 3 burritos. And you paid a total of $11.25 for this order. Your friend bought 4 tacos. 4T, T for tacos. And he bought 2 burritos, B for burritos, here. And he paid $10 from here. Okay, so now we have to solve one of these for T or B. Which one would be easier? You probably will say the second one is easier because we don't have decimals in the second one. And I would agree with you. Okay, so let's come over here and copy that one. 4T plus 2B equals 10. I'm going to solve it for B because when I finish subtracting 4T from both sides, I still have to divide by the number in front of B, which is 2, and I'd rather divide by a smaller number like 2 than 4. Although both of them are pretty simple, but you always want to go with what is simplest. Okay, so let's subtract 4T from both sides. We'll have 2B equals 10 minus 4T. We'll divide, because we've got to get B by itself, divide each term by 2. So we'll have B equals 5 minus 2T. Okay, we've solved it for B. And now we can use this not in the same equation, but in the second equation as a replacement for B. So I'm going to copy down the top equation again. So we're using this one, 3T plus 3B, but B is right here, 5 minus 2, t. And that equals 1125. All right, so let's go ahead, distribute and simplify. So this is going to be 15 minus 6t equals $11.25. Let's get the t's together. Combine like terms. We're going to have negative 3t plus 15 equals $11.25. Let me fix my equal sign. Okay, let's subtract 15 from both sides. And I'm going to come over here and write the results. I'll write it right here. So we have negative 3t equals negative 3.75 when we subtract. Negative 15 plus 11.25, or you can say 11.25 minus 15 will give us negative 3.75. Now let's divide both sides by negative 3. And we'll have t equals $1.25. So that means the tacos cost $1.25 each. Okay, let's go back over here and find out how much did the burritos cost. We can go back here, but this would be simpler because this is already solved for burritos, for B. B equals 5 minus $2. I'm sorry, minus 2 times $1.25. Okay, so B equals 5 minus 250. That means B equals 250. That means each burrito is $2.50. So the tacos was $1.25 and the burritos is $2.50 each. All right, let's keep going. All right, number 5. You're running a concession stand at a basketball game. You are selling hot dogs and sodas. Each hot dog cost $1.50. Each soda costs 50 cents. At the end of the night, you made a total of $78.50. You sold a total of 87 hot dogs and sodas combined. You must report the number of hot dogs sold and the number of sodas sold, how many hot dogs and how many sodas were sold. So that's the question, how many hot dogs and how many sodas were sold. All right, so it looks like we're going to be able to write two functions here, one representing the amount and one representing the cost. So they sold hot dogs and sodas, so H for hot dogs, and I'm going to use D for sodas, D for drinks. So hot dogs plus drinks, they sold a total of 87 of those combined. So hot dogs plus drinks, the sodas, they sold a total of 87 combined. For the cost, they paid they sold each hot dog for $1.50. So 1.5 is the same thing as $1.50. $1.50 each hot dog. Each drink, they sold for 50 cents. D. And the money made, $78 from all these sales, $78.50. All right, so we have our amount function, cost function, and now we need to solve one of these for H or D. So obviously the top one's going to be much easier to solve for. So let's go ahead and copy that one over here. And let's solve for H. Subtract D, H equals 87 minus D. So we have our replacement for hot dogs right here. So in my second equation, I'm going to replace H with 87 minus D plus 0.5D. Copy the rest of the equation. We're going to distribute to simplify this equation. So this is going to give us 130.5 minus 1.5D plus 0.5D equals 78.50. We can combine these like terms right here. The D's will have 130.5 minus 1D, 1.5 minus 0.5 is minus 1D equals $78.50. We'll subtract 130.5 from both sides. You can just put this in your calculator like this, 78.50 minus 130.50. So this will cancel. We'll have minus 1D here. In this side, we're going to get negative 52. All right, we don't want negative 1D. See, I'm going to copy this right here. This is what we have so far. Minus 1D or negative 1D equals negative 52. So we have to divide both sides by negative 1. And we'll have D equals 52. So they sold 52 drinks. 52 drinks. Doesn't fit. Let's redo that. $52 drinks. Okay. So if we want to know how many hot dogs they sold, well, we can come over here because this is hot dogs, or we can go over here. We can say what number plus 52 is 87, or we could do it here. 87 minus 52, that's going to give us 35 hot dogs. So they sold 52 drinks and 35 hot dogs. All right, let's keep going. Last one. A class of 195 students went on a field trip. They took 7 vehicles, some cars and some buses. Find the number of cars and the number of buses they took if each car holds 5 students and each bus holds 45. Okay, so let's see what we have. They took 7 vehicles. Some were cars, some were buses. So that gives us our amount function. So we can say C for cars, B for buses. So C, the number of cars, plus the number of buses, all equal 7 vehicles. So that's our amount function. Now let's write the other one will also be an amount function. Find the number of cars and the number of buses they took. If each car holds 5 students. So how much does each car hold? 5 students. How much does each bus hold? 45 students. 45 per bus. 5 per car plus 45 per bus, a total of 195 students. Top one, we will come over here and solve it for C or B. Let's solve it for C. Subtract B from both sides. So C equals 7 minus B. So we have a replacement for C. So that's going to be 5 times 7 minus B plus 45B equals 195. Distribute. We'll have 35 minus 5B plus 45B equals 195. Well, let's combine our like terms. Minus 5B and 4b, no, that's 45b. Let me fix that. Oops, wrong color. $45. Still not good. Okay, that's better. So we'll combine these together, our b terms. Okay, so we'll have 35 plus 40b equals 195. We're going to subtract. I'm going to have to copy the last equation up here because I ran out of room to work, and finish from here. So subtract 35 from both sides. We have 40b equals 160. Divide by 40. B equals 4. Okay, so B, remember, B represents the number of buses. That means they took 4 buses. We can replace B for 4 to find the number of cars. So C equals 7 minus 4. That means C is 3. So they took 3 cars and 4 buses. Okay, I did skip the checking because I had checked these questions previously, but you always want to check the solution that you get because there's many ways to make mistakes. Just make sure that it is correct. Okay, it's easy to check this one here. Look, mentally. 3 plus 4 is 7. 5 times 3 is 15. And 45 times 4 altogether is 195. All right, and this concludes this practice with solving equations, systems of equations with word problems.